Hi everyone, I'm Ian Harvey, massage therapist. This is Madison.
Hi.
Today we're going to talk about working with clients who want to help. And helping isn't a bad thing, helping is a great thing, but it can also be a little bit frustrating when you're trying to just move someone's arm and they give you the old stiff arm and you have to struggle with them. So my first piece of advice here is communication. If you're trying to manipulate an arm and they give you the old stiff arm or the floating arm or what have you, you can say, all right, so Madison, see if you can just let this arm be loose. See if you can let it go limp. And if I try to move it, just let it be loosey-goosey, okay? And I say weird stuff like that. I say loosey-goosey. It seems to communicate the message in a way that people get. And my second piece of advice is making many contacts with this area, making supportive contact. So if I'm moving this arm around, I like to make contact at the shoulder. That sends a message that this movement is safe. This is, again, the mother hand concept. By having this big supportive hand here, this broad supportive contact, this other manipulation can feel a little less scary. Another part of the whole supportive contact thing is cradling. So you can always choose to use more of your body to cradle these limbs as you work on them. And that sends the message that these are well supportive and that there's no chance that this limb is going to drop or be mishandled. So when I'm making contact like this, I like to drape the arm over my arm and again just make multiple points of contact. And this next tip, the one that you may have learned in massage school, is jostling. So if I wanted to pluck this ankle up and the person was kind of holding, I can just give it a little bit of a shake. But I find that that can be a little awkward. If I, as a client, don't realize that I'm holding and the massage therapist basically shakes it and non-verbally says, quit it, I can feel a little bad as a client. I can feel like I was doing something wrong. I think that a better way of going about that is to introduce the movement with jostling. As I pick this up, I can start with a jostle and include some more jostling. And something that you may have noticed me doing as I was picking up this limb is making this movement unpredictable. So based on these two inputs, here was one input, me lifting this ankle, and here was another input, me working on this limb, me doing active massage, or just pulling or pushing in a way that doesn't mean I want your ankle up. I'm sending conflicting signals, and I'm doing that on purpose. That's something that I developed over years and years to kind of make that helping phenomenon happen less often. And that brings me to my next point, which is massaging while you move. So by doing distracting work and relevant work elsewhere, so I'm changing the angle of this knee as I'm working with a knee flexor. By doing that distracting but relevant work, I'm making it less likely that this client's going to assist. Because really, how can you assist with something that is so complex? How can you assist with something that's sending these different signals? And my last piece of advice is to maybe not worry about it so much. If a client wants to assist with something, if they help to pick their own arm up as you place it by the side of the table, that's not so bad. That's, I would prefer that my clients were all just relaxing in the zone, that they're completely or nearly conked out or immersed in their body and don't feel like they need to help. But I've come to realize that people like to have that measure of control. People like to keep some control over this shoulder, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. That's something I'd like to work with over time. Over the course of 10 sessions, maybe I'll be able to pick up this shoulder however I want to. But until then, there might be some tensing of these muscles. And that's okay. It's okay for muscles to activate as you work on them, as long as it's not getting in the way of you doing the move that you want to do. So then you can have that conversation, you can do that jostling, you can use those confusing movements. But if your client isn't able to let go of this shoulder, they're still going to get an excellent massage. They're still going to get a lot out of this session. And just realize that some people, no matter how much they want to, are just unable to let go of certain parts of their body. It can be difficult for them to even realize that these muscles are active. So that's something that they might get a picture of over time, but until then, just realize that this is very often unconscious and sometimes not even consciously accessible. So that's how I work with clients who are just trying to help and who aren't letting go of these limbs, who aren't letting go of these shoulders. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you have any tips or tricks of your own. Let me know what you'd like to see next. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.